China issued rules on outbound investments in both 2014 and 2018, affecting the country's investment landscape. What sets these innovative state council regulations apart from the rest? What is behind the intense reaction? Numerous people are keenly observing this scenario to grasp its importance.
In 2014, China implemented new regulations for overseas investments by firms. Projects deemed non-sensitive now require a simple filing process instead of formal approval. That action set a new precedent. At that time, they promoted the use of compliant outbound methods. Around 2018, the focus shifted to curbing irrational investment, mainly firms piling into big real estate, hotels, and entertainment deals. Back then, mainly corporations were targeted.
H&A. Wang Jianlin wonder, too aggressive.
However, the key highlight of this revolutionary state council policy is its pioneering nature, a first of its kind. Chinese residents, described as domestic, are also interconnected with many living abroad. Currently, residents can definitely be considered investors. The rule defines outbound investment as investors putting in assets or equity, or providing financing or guarantees, obtaining assets, ownership, control, operating rights, and other related interests of foreign firms either through direct purchases or indirect means. The scope's wide. Investors include domestic firms, other organizations, and individual residents. Please take into account that Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan adhere to the same regulations. Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan are considered overseas territories for the purpose of this analysis. They always were overseas, right? They are not considered to be domestic. A significant shift. Moving ahead, a Chinese citizen purchasing a property overseas, establishing a company, or even running a restaurant, a truly transformative development, engaging in the purchase of stocks or bonds, providing collateral to secure a transaction. If obtaining foreign investments is considered, you need to adhere to regulations. File a record or report before proceeding with cross-border capital registration to ensure compliance with legal requirements. The NDRC and Commerce Ministry are still working on finalizing the specific regulations that will apply to individual citizens. Regulations not only govern the flow of capital leaving the country, but also mandate that individuals inform authorities about their investments when they reinvest income earned overseas.
If I'm able to generate significant wealth from my investments in the US stock market and decide to reinvest the profits, I am still required to submit tax returns.
Right. This hits Chinese people hard, including overseas Chinese who still hold Chinese nationality. What caused the intense response? The shift of oversight from companies to regular people has significantly expanded its scope, reaching thousands of times more individuals. How did investors operate internationally in the past? Through foreign exchange quotas. Each of you withdraw $50,000 and invest in real estate, transferring money in incremental amounts. This strategy helps to diversify and secure your financial portfolio. Play it however you like. Be flexible and adapt to your own preferences. The regulation by the State Council has now been elevated to include tiered, comprehensive oversight throughout the entire process and a security assessment for investments made overseas. The first hit happens in Hong Kong. Mainland money accounts for a considerable portion of purchases. Currently, buying in Hong Kong is considered an international transaction. There's just so much uncertainty. The consequences for not following procedures are severe. Using fraudulent documents or skipping essential steps can result in fines amounting to several % of the total investment. Also, illegal gains get confiscated, all acquired profits taken. In severe instances, you may be prohibited from engaging in any further overseas investments. The greater concern is, if you've already made an investment and now wish to sell, how is that process managed effectively? Because if I file, it explodes. Too many. China's wealthy citizens and government officials have assets overseas valued at tens of millions of dollars.
The crackdown extends to the tier right below China's elite, causing the most significant impact in this particular group. Allow me to inquire of Mr. Cai. What is your estimation of the magnitude of this impact that we are about to witness? You are accompanied by wealthy individuals who are surely worried about this situation.
According to Bloomberg, over $1 trillion left China's capital market last year, surpassing the $1 billion mark. Right. Without proper management and oversight, reserves may become depleted. Forex reserves still appear abundant on the surface, indicating sufficient levels. The economy, particularly exports, appears to be maintaining its stability fairly well. This is not something it can withstand. If immediate action isn't taken to regulate the situation, things may escalate quickly. The reserves are at risk of hitting rock bottom and are being depleted quickly. Once the resources are depleted, the regime might face a significant threat to its stability and existence. As the economy continues to decline, sinking lower and lower each day, reforms are urgently needed. The problem of capital outflow still remains unsolved as no satisfactory answer has been found yet. Keep an eye on whether they close the door. That's crucial to see what happens next. The recent decision by the State Council has dealt a significant blow to the wealthier individuals in society. Those who are still harboring illusions about this regime, particularly, should take heed. Those who still have significant amounts of money stored at home without investing it are facing even greater challenges. They anticipated the possibility of the money being withdrawn at any time, but knew they would still make a profit at home. Some individuals connected to the upper class continue to benefit without feeling the need to quickly transfer their wealth. Some believe that underground banks are impossible to eradicate. They always come in handy when you urgently need to transfer money. You can still extract it. However, once this regulation was introduced, it became more challenging. I believe it won't be long before the personal component arrives. The importance of the individual part is minimal. Furthermore, they will not merely restrict foreign investment. However, I also anticipate strict regulations surrounding the large amount of money sent overseas in the form of remittances.
In a recent conversation with friends, I learned that they have tried a new approach this time by casting a wider net. A leave nothing behind net. You know how Chinese fishermen fished? That net's mesh. In a wide expanse like that, big fish are usually caught, while small fish often manage to escape. Will they make it out alive? Once again, the fishermen threw out their extensive net, leaving nothing behind. Strongly criticized globally, all types of low-quality fish or shrimp are gathered up without discrimination. Larger fish are sold at market, while smaller ones are processed into fertilizer after being caught and killed. Everything ends up being utilized in some way, even when it comes to Chinese fishing vessels. Have passed. Nothing's left alive. Total annihilation. The way the State Council framed this can be described as a comprehensive approach that covers all aspects thoroughly. The big players have been under lockdown for quite some time now, those giants that we have always known. It now extends its coverage to encompass the middle class, individual residents, and their investments overseas. The exhaustive net ensures everything is tightly secured in place. Cai, there's one question I need to ask you. Not too sensitive, though. Would you mind answering it for me? Everyone is concerned about it. The rule will be enforced starting on July 1st. However, the NDRC and Commerce Ministry have yet to release specifics, leading to extensive debates among all concerned parties. Is there a need to file for money that was withdrawn and invested before July 1st? That is the key question that needs to be addressed. Is it required to send it to Beijing for processing? How do they handle the submission that is sent their way?
I think filing will be required, as it has already been completed in the past. If we have come this far with planning the policy, it will be expected that they will insist on it. Their surveillance systems have evolved significantly over the years, reaching a level of thoroughness that can at times feel overwhelming. The extent to which they monitor online activities has become almost too much to handle. If you choose not to file, don't rely on luck. Skipping it won't help, as they will check the records. Be cautious with your decisions. They take it out for you. You didn't even bother to report it yourself. When exactly did you earn that money, and who supported you? I suspect the involvement of the CCP in this matter, as they are highly capable and seem to be well informed. Many individuals are of the opinion that I utilize a variety of covert channels, including clandestine financial institutions. In fact, you're mistaken. They are unable to let anything go unnoticed at present. First and foremost, these affluent individuals must remain vigilant at all times, without a shadow of a doubt.
Mrs. Guo, why is the government rushing to maximize its revenue by collecting every possible dollar at an accelerated pace?
This has been happening for many years. Why the sudden escalation in aggression at this particular moment? Officially, the severity of capital outflows became impossible to overlook.
Serious outflows have worsened over the past 2 years, causing the government to fear massive outflows of money. Other factors contributing to this issue include the sharp crash in the crypto market. All these occurrences are interconnected.
It operates in a decentralized manner, completely hidden from government view. This caused them to panic. The underlying cause, current political circumstances, prevent numerous individuals from moving their funds overseas. In this current situation, those who are aware can tell that something has clearly gone awry. During the 20th Congress, Hu Jintao was forcefully removed, leading to a lasting division among the elite that remains unhealed to this day. Now Xi is running for his 4th consecutive term. The level of shock experienced at the highest levels is much greater than what those on the outside can comprehend. Suddenly, Zhang Youxia and Liu Jianli were caught off guard by the escalating infighting over the re-election. The situation grew tense. The sequence of events continued without pause. Following the 20th Congress, Jiang Zemin met his demise shortly after. Li Keqiang met a mysterious end. Subsequently, the military was gradually stripped of power until Zhang Youxia took action, leading to an inevitable escalation of the situation. The ongoing conflict over re-election continues to escalate. Despite years of military reform efforts, Xi has now removed almost all of the full generals he had previously appointed. Therefore, observers from outside are closely monitoring the series of strict measures that Beijing continues to implement. Why? Lately, getting over the firewall has gotten harder, rising fast since April. They don't want people knowing what's outside. Many ISPs in various regions have been instructed to completely restrict VPNs. As a result, bypassing these restrictions has become much more challenging. The entire situation indicates one clear message: the nation's borders are being shut down. Getting ready for the approaching storms, they are aware that trouble will arrive quickly. Their goal is to restrict the movement of those who are capable of escaping ahead of time. Stay put. That is the current situation we are facing. This doesn't resemble the regulatory framework in a typical nation, especially in terms of finance and forex. It's a political indication that they have shifted to a state of war readiness. Those familiar with government affairs are aware that just like the program from yesterday, Xi replaced the individuals overseeing his hometown in Xiong'an with new people. He is unable to maintain his grasp on the situation. Zhang Youxia was betrayed by his own comrades, truly a loyal supporter of Xi. But now he's accused of trampling the CMC chairman responsibility system. So officialdom knows something's wrong. Those who can are fleeing fast. Is it challenging to differentiate between products from Xi and those of his competitors? Throughout the past 14 years, all those who earned money were residents of Xi's camp. Before that, it was the Jiang family. He blocked funds and caused a huge mess.
Do you suggest that someone else could potentially hinder his financial transactions?
Many people say so. Those three securities firms, mostly they were loyal to Xi's group and carried out their duties under his leadership. Consider Ma Xingrui. His family invested funds in an insurance company based in Hong Kong. The rise of Alibaba, Tencent, and Xiaomi all relied on Xi. These giants rode the wave and found success through Xi's guidance. Before Xi Jinping came to power, the Jiang faction was extremely aggressive in blocking capital flight. Right now, you don't even know if you should block him or fear him because he already knows it's not working. They're rushing money out. Those large financial institutions manage the foreign investments of this particular business group. Therefore, the rapid implementation is closely connected to internal disputes, the power struggle during the 21st Congress, and Xi's campaign for re-election.
City gates burn, fish in the moat suffer. Why do gods engage in battles while it's the ordinary people who always bear the brunt of suffering? This raises another important question. Li Jun, what is your opinion on this matter? How wide is it? Due to the rule's extensive impact, there has been a significant Chinese emigration in the last few decades. Some have even acquired foreign citizenship, adding another layer to the situation, still closely connected with China. Several others obtained only green cards while still retaining their Chinese citizenship. In total, we could be considering millions, possibly tens of millions, even in the realm of hundreds of millions. Their daily economic activity all ties back to China somehow. Is it feasible for all these individuals to submit to regulation and supervision? Do you believe such a task is achievable?
Too hard. I have observed statistics from foreign countries that show the number of Chinese residents living abroad, excluding Taiwan, is almost reaching 40 million people. The number of people who have obtained citizenship is small, not many. A bigger group holds green cards or all kinds of visas. The largest group remains concealed, those individuals who are still within China. Authorities, employers, and wealthy individuals often transfer some of their funds overseas in the form of investments, real estate, land ownership, companies, and stocks. These people are all inside China, wealth stashed overseas, including spouses and children. Plenty inside. I have encountered numerous party officials whose spouses and children reside in foreign countries. Honestly, in my hometown, having no international connections as a senior official would often lead to being viewed with a certain level of disdain by others. Is it possible that a division chief has no assets in the US? Could it be that their son has never studied in Britain? Implementing this system requires dealing with a considerably large number of people in foreign lands and domestically. Enforcing the rules would involve harsh measures. To be frank, inquire with any provincial secretary, governor, or city party chief. How many of them don't have family members living abroad? Do you lack assets in foreign countries? They all do. Can a family member of the secretary come to submit a document? How should they proceed? Many obstacles must be overcome before achieving success, leading to a state of chaos and disorder that needs to be addressed and resolved. When I'm out of the country, my personal wealth is exclusive to me and not up for discussion, so forget about it. It's none of your business. Why should I submit my investment details to China's NDRC through official filing procedures? Simply a rule, nothing more or less needed. In about a month's time, specific information will be available. They will arrive. But in what way will they come about?
After 40 to 50 years of implementing reforms and open-door policies, the Chinese economy has advanced to a particular phase of progress. However, China is currently encountering the middle-income trap. What is the middle-income trap all about, actually? It's the contradictions between the social system and the economic model. Beyond a certain threshold, the economy transitions into an open state of operation. But the Communist Party, every Communist Party operates within a tightly controlled closed system of authority and governance. Mrs. Guo is more knowledgeable. She compares it to a hydraulic system, indicating a good understanding. It is essential that it is completely sealed in order to effectively transmit pressure. What does the system fear the most? It fears leaks, oil, or water. I believe the current party system's way of operating is what I sense. When it is hitting this contradiction, its instruments of policy are still reminiscent of the Mao era. It lacks any innovative resources such as a functioning independent judiciary that were never established. Therefore, the party reverts to relying on old methods for governance. The outcome is a regression towards a model of control that is more restrictive, moving in a backward direction. Xi and Deng Xiaoping point in totally opposite directions, right?
Ever since coming into power, Xi has been adhering to Mao's ideology instead of Deng's. The leader's decisions have mirrored Mao's principles, emphasizing the party's total authority, suppressing private enterprises, relying on social manipulation. It's all straight out of Mao's strategy. The ongoing power struggle among the elite essentially boils down to a choice between two paths, either embracing reform and opening up, or leaning towards the hard left. The tension traces back to Xi's initial experience on the first day. The movement started with Bo Xilai's Red Song Strike Black. She continued Bo's revolutionary path with unwavering dedication. It's too late to avoid what has happened. A fundamental flaw has been found in China's period of reform in recent years. China experienced rapid economic growth over the decades, leading to the emergence of a substantial middle class, as we previously mentioned. Wealthy individuals across the country began transferring their money overseas. Upon acquiring wealth, individuals naturally seek provisions such as legal safeguards for private property, equitable distribution of resources, and avenues to articulate their concerns and needs. These demands pose a serious challenge to the party's control over power as they threaten its stronghold and authority. The party's Achilles heel, a fatal weak point to be reckoned with. Beyond a certain threshold, the pressure for growth drives the need for political change, yet the party is unable to exceed it. It closes the door and turns back time, rewinding the clock. Xi doing this is where the party system inevitably leads. He has neglected his commitments to the WTO to liberalize, especially in Forex. His approach is completely out of touch.
Just old documents and disowned.
There's also the issue of ultimate authority. It plays an important role in shaping this as well. Ever since taking control via Marxism, from Mao to the present, one issue remains unsolved. The transfer of ultimate power has never been successfully achieved. Each change in top leadership led to significant disruption, political purges, and violent conflict, causing turmoil and suffering among the people. The Cultural Revolution saw Mao overthrowing Liu Shaoqi to reclaim power with drastic consequences. Students and mass movements as tools. Society paid a terrible price. The economy hovered on the brink of collapse, and his exact words. In the year 1976, Mao passed away and the Gang of Four was overthrown, marking another brutal and lethal conflict. Each time there is a struggle for ultimate power, society endures significant consequences and pays a high price. The two major explosions from last month are still causing debate, with many believing they were intentional rather than accidental. Now it is Xi's time as he aims for a fourth consecutive term, with history repeating itself once again. The re-election has triggered a significant crisis within the elite. China's problem has expanded beyond its borders now. To secure legitimacy for re-election, taking a firm stand and moving forward, he fuels patriotism among the people, increasing tension regarding Taiwan on the rise. Hostility toward the US and Japan. The conflict has spread beyond China's borders, spilling over into the international arena. The escalating tensions in the Taiwan Strait and East China Sea are both fueled by the upcoming re-election. Not only closing the door, but also forcefully shutting the gate. Restrict the flow of money, control the people, suppress information, regulate the internet, silence dissent. Throughout history, it has been proven that whenever the party tries to achieve stability in this manner, it ultimately leads to even more significant disruptions. We are currently witnessing the turmoil taking place.
The signs continue to flood in steadily. Today's narrative surpasses mere updates to investment regulations. Behind it lies a significant political statement that carries much greater weight. The fate of China lies in the hands of its people, economy, and access to information. Our choices today shape China's tomorrow. If everything ends up getting trapped within their system once again, companies, people, Hong Kong, the world, this is not just your average financial regulation. It's really the restart of a wartime system. An operational system for wartime has been put into action. Yes, frightening. Reform once offered China endless possibilities on the global stage. Now the door's shut. The individuals found themselves locked back in. A regime fearing its people flee. I understand their perspective on the matter. What is the solution to this emerging trend that we are facing? Should you treat people with kindness and respect to earn their loyalty, or resort to coercion at gunpoint to compel compliance? That's the difference between two systems. Two systems, two paths. We will need to conclude our session at this point for today. In our next encounter, we will explore these systemic disparities further and delve deeper into understanding their complexities and implications out of time. Appreciation to all three. Thank you for watching. We'll pick this up next time. See you next time.